Every day, millions of people answer phone calls without giving them a second thought. A customer places an order, a worker completes a task, and life moves on. Most of the time, that's the end of the story. But sometimes, a single phone call becomes the beginning of a mystery. Welcome back, everyone. If this is your first time here, I'm so glad you found us. You're about to dive into a true crime mystery that will stay with you. Trust me, you don't want to miss a thing. Before we begin, where are you listening from today? Drop your city or country in the comments. I love seeing how far this amazing community reaches. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a chilling story like this. Let's dive into the mystery. Ready? Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Delivery That Never Ended. It was just after midnight, the kind of hour when the city feels different. Not asleep, not fully awake, just suspended somewhere in between. The rush of the evening had faded, the streets were quieter now. Storefronts that had buzzed with activity only hours earlier sat dark and empty. Traffic lights cycled through their colors for roads with almost no cars left to stop for them. For most people, the day was over. For delivery drivers, it wasn't. Late-night orders were part of the job. One more address, one more customer, one more stop before heading home. And for a young pizza delivery driver in his late 20s working another shift in northern part Free Nation metropolis, that was exactly what this appeared to be. Nothing unusual, nothing suspicious, nothing memorable. Just another order waiting to be delivered. The request came in shortly after midnight. An address inside the Raymond Rosen Homes housing complex. Like every other order, it appeared simple. A destination, a customer, a delivery. The pizzas were prepared, the boxes were packed, and the driver headed out into the night. At the time, there was no reason to think twice about it. No reason to believe investigators would later examine every second surrounding that delivery. The phone call, the address, the timing, the people who may have been nearby. Every detail would eventually matter. But at that moment, it was simply another job, another routine stop. The roads were mostly empty as he made his way through the city. Streetlights reflected off pavement still carrying the dampness of the night air. Apartment windows glowed in the distance. Some people were settling in for the night. Others were just beginning theirs. And somewhere ahead was a customer waiting for a pizza delivery. Or at least, that's what it appeared to be. As the driver approached the housing complex, nothing immediately stood out. The location matched the order. The destination was exactly where it was supposed to be. Everything appeared normal. He stepped out with the pizzas and headed toward the apartment listed on the order. The delivery was completed, the food was left behind, and for a brief moment it seemed like another routine stop had come and gone. But something wasn't right. Hours later, investigators arriving at the scene would begin noticing details that didn't fit together. Inside the apartment, they found the pizzas, the delivery bag. Everything appeared untouched. No sign of a customer, no sign that anyone had been waiting for food. No indication that the order had ever been placed for the purpose everyone assumed. The apartment itself appeared vacant, empty, silent, almost as though nobody had expected to be there at all. And suddenly, the entire situation looked different. Because if nobody was living there, why was the order placed? Investigators began retracing the timeline, minute by minute, step by step, trying to understand how an ordinary delivery had become the center of a homicide investigation. At first, answers were hard to find. The scene raised more questions than it answered. The vacant apartment, the untouched food, the unusual circumstances surrounding the order. Nothing seemed to make sense. Then detectives turned their attention to surveillance footage. Security cameras positioned around the housing complex had captured portions of the night. Not everything, but enough. Investigators began reviewing the footage frame by frame, searching for movement, searching for clues, searching for anything that could explain what happened. And then they noticed something. The delivery driver appears on camera carrying the pizza boxes toward the apartment. A routine moment, a routine delivery. But he isn't alone. Behind him, two individuals can be seen. Not walking beside him, not interacting with him, following, keeping their distance.
moving through the darkness behind him. One appears to be carrying a backpack. The footage doesn't reveal who they are. It doesn't explain why they were there, and it doesn't show what happened next. But it changes the investigation immediately, because detectives now know something they didn't know before. The driver was not alone that night. Someone else was nearby. Someone else was moving through the complex at the same time. And suddenly, the possibility of coincidence begins to fade. The footage raises a troubling question. What if the delivery wasn't random? What if the order itself was part of something larger? Investigators couldn't say for certain. Not yet. But the possibility was impossible to ignore. Because the more they looked at the evidence, the harder it became to explain away the circumstances. A vacant apartment? Untouched pizzas? Two unidentified individuals appearing behind the driver moments before everything changed. Separately, each detail was unusual. Together, they formed a pattern, one that detectives were only beginning to understand. And as the investigation moved forward, a chilling possibility began to emerge. If the apartment was empty, then who ordered the pizza? And more importantly, who was waiting nearby when the driver arrived? But this is only the beginning, because what investigators discover next changes everything. The phone number, the surveillance footage, and a trail that may lead directly to the person behind it all. So if you're wondering how this story unfolds, how detectives follow the evidence, and whether the mystery is ever solved, stay right here, because in Chapter 2, the investigation takes a dramatic turn.